Rank 1. The recruit. The day you find out who you actually are. You've wanted this your whole life. Not the uniform, not the Trident, not the respect that comes with 3 letters. SEAL, spoken by someone who knows what they mean. You wanted the test, the real one, the one with no curve, no participation trophy, no second chances. The one that strips away everything you've performed your whole life, every act of toughness, every story you've told about yourself, and shows you, and everyone watching, exactly what's underneath. You join the Navy. Boot camp. 8 weeks of things that feel hard, right up until the moment you find out what hard actually means. Your bunkmates complain about the 5 a.m. runs. You're already back and doing pull-ups. They think you're trying to impress someone. You're not. You're terrified. Not of the training. Not of the instructors. Terrified of one specific thing, that you'll get all the way to Bud S, the thing you've dreamed about since you were 16, and find out that the story you've been telling about yourself your whole life isn't true. That when it gets bad enough, you'll quit. You ship to Coronado, California, Naval Amphibious Base, the home of BUS. You stand on the grinder, the concrete courtyard where everything happens, for the first time. 226 men around you. Every single one of them, the best athlete, the toughest guy, the most driven person from wherever they came from. High school football captains, Division I athletes, Marines who did 2 combat tours and decided that wasn't enough. They all look like you. They're all scared like you. They're all telling themselves the same thing. I will not ring that bell. Your first instructor doesn't give a speech, doesn't explain what's coming, doesn't welcome you or warn you. He looks at the 226 of you and says 4 words. Get wet and sandy. And it begins. Rank 2. The BUDS. Trainee Hell Week and the Bell. Bud S is 6 months. But there is 1 week inside those 6 months that is in a category entirely by itself. Hell Week. 5.5 days of continuous training with a maximum of 4 hours of total sleep. Not 4 hours per night. 4 hours total for the entire week. You run more than 200 miles. You spend more time in the cold Pacific than most people spend in a swimming pool in their lifetime. You carry boats on your head, inflatable rubber boats that weigh over 180 pounds, with your team everywhere you go for days. The instructors are not trying to train you, not yet. They are trying to find out who quits. Because the whole theory of Hell Week, the entire brutal, scientific, carefully engineered point of it, is this. Most people quit not because their body fails. They quit because their mind does. Their body still has something left. Their legs still work. Their arms still function. But a voice in their head, loud, reasonable, persuasive, tells them it's okay to stop. That voice says, you've proven enough. That voice says, no one would blame you. That voice says, there's no shame in being human. And that voice is a liar. You learn to hear it and keep moving anyway. By Wednesday of Hell Week, half your class is gone. You watch men who looked invincible on day 1 walk up to that brass bell with tears on their faces and ring it. Good men, strong men, men who wanted it as bad as you did. But wanting something isn't the same as being able to survive it. You are cold every second of every hour. Your hands are so swollen you can barely close them. Your feet are bleeding inside your boots. Your eyes have been open so long that blinking feels like a luxury. And then Sunday comes. Secure from Hell Week. 2 words that hit you like a physical thing. Your instructor, who has not smiled once in 5.5 days, looks at what's left of your class. 41 men out of the original 226. He nods once. Not bad, he says. That's it. That's all you get. And somehow, it's enough. It's more than enough. Because you know what it cost, and you know what it means. You are still here. Rank 3, SEAL qualified. The Trident means nothing here. Hell Week was just the entrance exam. After Budus comes 6 more months of SQT, SEAL qualification training, advanced combat diving, land warfare tactics, sniper fundamentals, close quarters battle, military free-fall parachuting from altitudes where the air is thin enough to kill you before you ever reach the ground. Every single week is a filter. Make a critical error. You're out. Can't keep up. You're out. Show the wrong kind of judgment in the wrong kind of situation. You're out. And then the day comes. Pinning day. The Navy SEAL Trident. Gold. Heavy. An eagle clutching a trident, an anchor, and a flintlock pistol. It doesn't get pinned to your chest like a medal. It gets pressed in, hard enough to break skin. Pressed in by the hands of the men you just went through hell with. That's tradition. That's the community saying, this badge cost blood. Don't you ever forget whose. You are now a Navy SEAL. And then you show up to your first team, and the senior operator at the door looks at your shiny new Trident and looks back at your face and says absolutely nothing, goes back to what he was doing. Like you didn't just spend 2 years surviving the hardest military training on the planet to be standing here. And that's when you understand something nobody told you during training. The Trident is not an achievement inside a SEAL team. It's the entry requirement. The new guy tax is real and it is relentless. You carry the heaviest gear. You get the 3 a.m. watch shift nobody else wants. You are last to eat, first to be volunteered for every garbage detail that needs doing. You do it without complaint. Because complaining would mean you think you've already earned something. You haven't. Not yet. The guys around you, the ones with combat patches on their shoulders and 1,000-yard stares they wear like a second uniform, they have something you don't have yet. The thing that can only be gotten one way. You go downrange, into the worst place the military is currently operating, and you find out what you're actually made of when the training ends and the real thing begins. You are waiting for that moment. More than you've wanted anything, including the Trident, you want to find out who you are when it's not pretend anymore. Rank 4, Junior Operator, your first time downrange. Your first deployment is to Afghanistan. You've been briefed on the country. You've studied the terrain, the culture, the threat picture. You've trained for this specific environment for months. None of it fully prepares you for the real thing. The smell hits you first when you step off the bird. Dust and diesel and something else underneath, something that doesn't have a name in any language you grew up with. But your body knows what it means immediately. This is a place where people die. Your team operates out of a small forward operating base. The missions are mostly direct action. Nighttime raids on compounds where high-value targets are sleeping, or supposed to be sleeping. The intelligence is good, maybe 60% of the time. The other 40%, you kick in a door at 2 a.m. and find a family. A father, a mother. Children who wake up screaming. You lower your weapon. You hold your hands up. Your interpreter talks fast. You search the compound anyway because that's the mission. You find nothing. You leave. And you carry the image of those kids' faces back to base with you. Your first firefight happens on week 3. It's nothing like the training. Training is loud but controlled. Choreographed almost. This is chaos. It lasts 11 minutes. It feels like 11 hours. When it's over, your team is okay. You are okay. 2 enemy fighters are down. You sit against a wall in the aftermath and your hands are shaking and you are trying to figure out whether what you're feeling is fear or adrenaline or something else entirely, something that feels uncomfortably close to being alive in a way you've never felt before. That feeling, you will chase it for the rest of your career. That is the thing nobody warns you about, not the danger, not the violence, the fact that some part of you loves this, and you don't know what to do with that. Rank 5, Senior Operator. You are the most dangerous person in any room. 4 deployments in. Afghanistan twice, Iraq once. 1 location you are not allowed to name in any document that will ever be read by anyone without a TSCI clearance. You have run more than 200 combat missions. You have been shot at more times than you can accurately count. You have been blown up by an IED that killed the vehicle in front of yours and walked away with a concussion and ringing ears that have never fully gone quiet. You have made decisions in fractions of seconds that determined whether people lived or died, and you made them correctly, every time. You are now a senior operator, E6, E7, 8 to 10 years in. You are not the new guy anymore. You are the guy the new guys study. The one they watch on the range, in the briefing room, in the seconds before a breach when everything is about to go loud, and you are completely still. Calm the way that only comes from having been in the worst possible situation enough times that it starts to feel like somewhere you've been before. Your body at this rank is a collection of repairs. The knee that got reconstructed after a hard landing in the mountains of eastern Afghanistan. The shoulder that has been partially dislocated in 3 separate incidents and never sits quite right. The hearing loss you don't report because reporting it means desk duty, and desk duty means not being downrange, and not being downrange means what exactly? What are you without this? That question has started showing up in the quiet moments. At home between deployments, when you sit in your own house, in your own kitchen, eating a normal breakfast, and the silence feels so loud it's almost unbearable. When your wife asks you how you're doing, and you say fine because fine is the only word that doesn't open a door you don't know how to close. When your kid asks you what you do at work and you say you help keep people safe, and they accept that answer completely because they're 6 years old and that's enough, but it's not enough for you because you know what keeping people safe actually looks like. And it looks nothing like what you just described. You are the most capable warfighter your country has produced, and you are starting to understand that capability and cost are two sides of the same thing. Rank 6, Chief, Lead Petty Officer, the weight no one talks about. There is a deployment, and you know exactly which one it is because it lives in a specific place in your chest that never fully loosens, where you lose someone, not a stranger, not a name on a briefing slide, someone you trained with, someone who sat across from you at Chow for 3 years, someone whose kids you've met, someone who trusted you completely, trusted your call, your read of the situation, your decision in the 3 seconds you had to make it. You made the call, and he's gone. There will be a ceremony. There will be a folded flag. There will be words spoken by people who weren't in that alley on that night, who will talk about sacrifice and heroism and the price of freedom. And every single word will be true, and none of it will touch what you actually feel. Because what you feel isn't grief the way movies show grief. It's a question, one that repeats on a loop in the back of your mind at 3 a.m. for the next 2 years. What if you'd called it differently? What if you'd taken the other route? What if you'd waited 60 more seconds for the ISR feed? What if you are now Chief Petty Officer? You lead your own element, multiple junior operators whose lives depend on the quality of your decisions. And here is what nobody prepares you for about leadership at this level. You cannot let them see it, not the grief, not the doubt, not the question that plays on loop in the back of your skull. Because the moment they see it, the moment they think the guy making the calls isn't absolutely certain, something breaks in the team that you can't fix, so you carry it alone. You lock it somewhere deep. You walk into every briefing room like the answer to every question is already clear to you. You project certainty like a weapon, and you become, in the process, someone who is very good at pretending that none of this is hollowing you out. This is the rank where you stop being a warrior and start being something harder, a man who sends warriors into the dark and lives with whatever comes back. Rank 7, Master Chief, Senior Enlisted Advisor, the man in the mirror you don't recognize. 15 years. You are Master Chief Petty Officer, E9, the highest enlisted rank in the United States Navy. There are fewer than 200 Master Chiefs across the entire SEAL community at any given time. You are the Senior Enlisted Advisor for an entire SEAL team. Every operator, from the greenest new guy to the most seasoned Senior Chief, answers to you. You are the living institutional memory of what this community is supposed to be, the standard against which everything else is measured. When a junior operator is about to do something that will get him or someone else killed, your voice is the one that stops it, not with rank, not with threat, with the quiet authority of someone who has been exactly where they are and knows exactly what happens next. That is 15 years of being right in situations where being wrong means a flag gets folded. But here is what 15 years also does. You have become very, very good at a particular kind of performance. The performance of being okay. Your body is a catalog of repairs. A knee reconstructed after a hard landing on a mountain in Kunar province. A shoulder that never fully healed from the second time it dislocated under the weight of a casualty you were carrying. Hearing loss in your left ear, you stopped reporting because reporting means a medical review, and a medical review means desk duty, and desk duty is something your mind cannot survive. You are 38 years old. You run 6 miles every morning. You bench press numbers that would embarrass men half your age. But in the dark, in the private hours before the mission prep and the briefings and the performance of being Master Chief, there's a version of you that you're starting to lose track of. The one that existed before all of this. Before the deployments and the decisions and the weight of everything you've carried and never once put down, you try to remember what you wanted before you wanted this. You can't. The mission filled every space. It always did. You used to think that was a strength. Lately, you've started to wonder if it's something else entirely. The junior operators look at you like you have every answer. You smile, you give them the answer. And then you go back to your office and sit with the question you never ask out loud. Who are you when there's no mission to define you? You don't know. And that, more than any firefight, more than any injury, more than anything that has ever been shot at you, that is the thing that scares you most. Rank 8, Commanding Officer, the desk that costs everything. You took a commission, Warrant Officer, then Officer Candidate School. The path not everyone takes, but the community needed leadership that understood the ground truth, that had lived it, breathed it, bled for it, and you were the right person at the right time. You are now the Commanding Officer of a SEAL team. 300 operators, support staff, intelligence analysts, logistics, medical, the full machine of lethal American military power, and you are the person who points it. You brief 3-star generals. You sit in rooms at the Pentagon. You advise policy on the employment of special operations forces in theaters that won't appear in the news for years, if ever. The decisions you make affect people who will never know you made them. Villages that stay intact because you redirected a mission. Targets that get taken off the board because you made a call at 11 p.m. in a room with bad coffee and worse lighting that the intelligence was solid enough. You are no longer downrange. Your body thanks you for that. Your mind does not. Because what nobody tells you about command, the real cost of it, is that you are now responsible for grief you will never fully experience yourself. When an operator dies on a mission you authorized, you write the letter. You make the call to the family. You stand at the funeral in your dress uniform with everything pressed and everything decorated, and you look at the widow and the children and you carry something home from that has no name. You add it to the collection, the one you've been building for 20 years. The one you'll carry to your grave. Rank 9, Naval Special Warfare, Commander, the top of the mountain, and what it actually looks like. 25 years. You are Naval Special Warfare Command, the commanding authority over all Navy SEALs, SEAL delivery vehicle teams, and special boat teams in the United States military. Every Navy SEAL on the planet operates under your authority. You brief the Secretary of Defense. You advise the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You have access to intelligence assessments that most 3-star generals will never see. When the most sensitive, most dangerous, most deniable missions in American military history are being planned, your signature is on the authorization. You have made it. By every external measure that exists, rank, authority, respect, legacy, you are at the absolute top. And here is what the top actually looks like. It is very quiet. There are no more missions for you, no more breaches, no more firefights. No more moments where everything else falls away and there is only the objective and the team and the pure clarity of what needs to be done. That is behind you now. Everything that made you feel most like yourself, most alive, most certain, most real, is in the rearview mirror and getting smaller every year. What's ahead is policy, administration, politics, briefings and meetings and the bureaucratic machinery of a military institution that runs on paperwork as much as it runs on courage. You do it well. You do it because it matters, because the decisions made in these rooms protect the operators still going downrange, but you miss it. Every single day, you miss it. Not just the action, not just the adrenaline. You miss who you were when you were in it, the version of yourself that existed only in those moments. Clear, focused, certain. That person, the one who stayed in the water at 3 a.m. in the cold Pacific all those years ago. You miss him, and you're not sure he exists anymore outside of memory. The day you retire, they give you the Trident one more time, not to press into your chest, not as a ceremony, just placed in your hand. The same pin you earned 25 years ago, or one just like it, gold and heavy, the eagle and the anchor and the trident, sitting in your palm. And you stand there holding it, and you think about everything it took to get here. The water at 3 a.m., the bell you never rang, the men you carried, the men you couldn't, the letters you wrote, the funerals you stood at, the family dinners you missed. The version of yourself you left behind somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan, or the streets of Mosul, or a dozen other places that don't appear on any map you're allowed to discuss. You think about all of it, and then you close your hand around the Trident, and something in you, quiet, settled, certain, says, worth it, not because it didn't cost you, because of what it cost you, because the price is the proof that it was real, that you were there, that you did what needed to be done when no one else was willing to do it. The country will not say your name. History will not record most of what you did. The missions that mattered most will stay classified until long after anyone who cares is gone. But you were there. You stayed in the water. And that is something that can never be taken back. Somewhere right now, there is a unit that watches everything you just went through and uses it as a recruiting pool. They don't come to you. They don't advertise. They don't have a name on any public document. They just show up one day in a room with no windows and no clock and slide a folder across the table. That folder has your name on it. Next on POV, classified, your life as every rank in Delta Force. Subscribe. The deeper it goes, the darker it gets.